we're going to get into the cleaning of the firearm. So let's begin. Just check your firearm, make sure it's clear. It's clear. Magazine's out. It's set aside. Slides back. Took my finger. Checked it. Slide back down. So again, Glock. Take your firearm down. Pull the trigger. It's off. Take a recoil spring out. Barrel. And our slide. So these down here. Right. So for gun cleaning purposes, I was raised on Hops number 9. Love the smell of it. If they made a candle out of it, I'd probably buy it. So Hops is a great go-to gun cleaner. One I've been using a lot lately is M Pro 7. It's a combat veteran owned and made. Stuff's fantastic. If you shoot a lot, you clean a lot of guns, I highly recommend getting this big bottle. It's worth it. So those are the cleaners. I'm fully aware nowadays that they actually sell gun cleaning rags, but if you have kids like I do, you have no shortage of gun cleaning rags. Kids grow quick. The only thing I recommend is if you are going to use their clothes for rags, use cotton and use a color that you can see what you're doing. What I mean by that is use a light or bright color so you can see the grit and the grime and you can be aware of what you're taking off. It's just, to me, it's just easier. I like to see that there's some sort of fruit to my labor, I guess. I guess it doesn't matter the color, but I like to use the brights or the whites. So to start, what I'll do, and there's no right, there's no wrong way, just clean it. So I like to start with the slide first, and with the Glock, again, we'll use the trusty Glock brush that comes with it, just for the sake of instruction. And what you do is you take your Glock bristle brush, you thread it into the rod, just like that, and she's on, and you're good to go. So what we do is I'll lay this down like that. What you're doing is you're using the gun cleaner to remove the carbon deposits. So to break it down, when you fire, there's an explosion that happens inside your firearm. And with any explosion, there's going to be residue. There's going to be char. So the char gets trapped inside your slide, and inside your frame, and inside your barrel. And it's little teeny fragments. Sometimes there's pieces of the shell. You'll find pieces of brass in here. It's a pretty violent process, so be prepared to find chunks. And with Glocks, there's a lot of myths going on. I was always raised to keep your guns clean, to clean them after every time you shoot. Glocks are pretty reliable. You don't technically have to clean it every time you shoot. It is good to maybe take a look at it and see, especially if you're outside shooting in an outdoor range or shooting in the rain or you're in the mud. If you get something caught in it, you're going to want to take a look and see. So if you don't clean it, it is good to take it apart and just sort of visually inspect it to see what's going on. I'm not going to do a full deep dive by taking out the firing pin and the ejection lever. It's not really warranted at this point. I'll probably do another video with it, but what people do is you'll take the brush like this, and you just sort of get into these grooves along here, get up in here, you know, like that. And what I'll do is I'll just let it set on there. You know, I've done an initial wipe, got some of the bigger, more gnarly pieces off. They're right here, and what I'll do is I'll take this, and I'll also take my brush, and because my fingers are a little big and they can't get down through there, and there's a lot of little parts, I'll just take the brush and just kind of do a gentle scrub in here, in these parts. I know that there's going to be somebody who's going to say that I should be wearing gloves, and you know, if you want to wear gloves while you do this to keep the cleaning agents off you, you know, by all means wear gloves. So if you want to be safer, go for it. I just, again, doing this off site, I didn't bring gloves with me. My family's on vacation and I wanted to get this video going, so I didn't bring any gloves. And to be honest, I normally don't wear gloves while I'm cleaning. Personal preference, can if you want. I don't. So get that. Again, what works good too is, I know that they make bore swabs, I believe, is a company that makes them, but I use the original bore swab, which is the Q-tip. Q-tip works wonders for getting in here. And again, I did bring the Q-tips on vacation, but I again did want to get going on this video, so we'll do the best we can. Essentially what you're doing with this surface level clean is you're kind of getting in here and you're getting all the grit out, making sure all these trigger components are able to move, they're not going to get bound up. You're just sort of wiping it up. Again, Glocks can go for quite a while without a real good clean. And I know guys that barely clean their Glocks and they run fantastically. So, personal preference, I like to keep mine clear. It's just how I was raised, and it's, you know, one of those old habits, die hard, I guess. You know, not nearly as finicky as a 1911. So, and then you just go in here after this sets, and I'll wipe everything off, clean it up. Get around here. Don't forget to get up here. You're always going to get some blowback on your barrel. Right in through here, just like that. All right. Then you're going to have your barrel. Barrel takes the brunt. You probably can't see too well in here, but it's pretty dirty. So take the barrel brush and we'll just run it through. It is good practice to not run your brush back through in case it does have debris on it. It could get it caught in the rifling. So what you'll want to do is remove it, thread it back on. You don't have to thread it on all the way, just a couple threads so it stays. And then just run it back through again. It doesn't, there you go, just like that. And I like to do it about 3 times. I mean, it's it's not gonna hurt. You wanna keep doing it, you wanna do it 5 times. Again, personal preference, you know. These brushes that come with Glock or from Glock are nice. I typically will use brass. It's nice you can go get on Amazon, go to your local gun store, get a nice gun cleaning kit, you know, spend the money, get a good one. You'll get one for every caliber, get a nice brass one. Alright, so this is what I mean. We're gonna use this hole to run a patch through. So what we mean by patch, by that is we'll take a little bit of fabric, put it in here. Let's see, it might be a little big. It's always nice to have a knife around while you do it in case you gotta cut something down to size. So put your patch in and you just run it right up through, just like that. And with the patch, I'll actually pull it back through simply because a lot of times the back end doesn't get the brunt, the front end does on the way in. And there you go. She's looking good. So, barrel done. Recoil spring, doesn't get much. Just sort of wipe it down, wipe in between the springs. With the double ones, I like to kind of flex them a little bit, wipe it up. And there we have it for a quick clean. That's it. So when you're putting it back together, you're going to want to put a little bit of oil on it. You don't have to go crazy. You don't want it to squirt oil in your face when you shoot. So you don't need much. You know. But what I do is I'll take the oil and I'll just put a drop on each rail. Might even just put a drop just in the spring. And that's pretty much it. Generally don't oil too much in here. A lot of times the gun cleaner has enough lubrication in it where you're not going to need it. And then you just slide it on and work the action a few times. Good as new. And that's a basic rundown of cleaning your firearm. You know, again, there's more in-depth ways you can do it. You can take the firing pin mechanism out, clean all that. You can take the trigger block out, clean the trigger down to the trigger springs. You can take the magazine apart and clean that too. To take the magazines apart, you just take a punch, or a Glock actually has a tool. Press it in, slide the magazine plate out, and then the spring will slide out with the round follower. And you wipe the springs down, clean them. If you're just going to the range and you're not really out running and gunning, you're probably not going to need to take your magazines apart very often. You know, if you're in a combat situation or it's muddy, gritty, and you're outside and you're fighting for survival, yeah, you might want to take it apart, clean it out, just to make sure no rocks or debris got caught in your follower to keep your magazine feeding properly. But largely if you're in an urban environment or just carrying day to day, you're probably okay with maybe a little drop of oil every now and then, but these factory Glock magazines are pretty hardy, pretty smooth, easy to load. So that's that. Again, can't beat Hops number 9. Smells amazing. And MP Pro 7. Great stuff. M Pro 7 gun oil.